And that's where, artistry of life, as we practice it and as we preach it, it's not an ideology that we've cultivated, where there's a written word and doctrine of set rules and principles that you got to follow. What all artistry of life is exactly what you said. We're participants. I'm
Yes.
a participant, you're a participant, and we're encourage everyone to be participants,
Yes.
right? And take accountability of their own lives as they firsthand experience the circumstances and situations that they're going through, pull the lessons, and then, take an internal reflection and say, okay, well, where this is where I'm, wherever the lessons start is wherever the lessons occur
Mm-hmm.
is where you start your work right there. You,
Yes.
you don't need
Yes.
a starting point for you. That's the starting point right there.
Wow.
We have all these books, over here lined up.
Yep.
My issue often with authors in any field, any genre, any field, try to write from the narrative of this is the way it is, right?
Mm.
And they write from a outward reflection of, if you apply these 10 rules and these 10 steps,
Yes.
you will, be able to unlock the mysteries of your life or be able to solve the problems of your life. And
Yes.
and then now you're creating dogma, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
creating an ideology for people to, follow your train of thought and your train of thinking and
Yes.
and your way of doing things, right? And that's how people form cults,
Yes.
and we're
Yes.
like, no, right? Like we're not speaking from that perspective. We're speaking from the participant,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we're going through this stuff too, and we're learning and uncovering and we're growing in the
Yes.
process, right?
Yes.
So we talk
Absolutely.
about things as we experience them, as we learn them, and as we apply them to our lives. Like, whoa, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the encouragement for all of our viewers and listeners out there is to do the same, right? It's not to, don't adapt these things because Saya and Eli said so. Like, use these things as, some form of motivation or inspiration to say, well, if they were able to stop and take control and authority over their lives,
Yes.
by just internalizing everything,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can do it too, right?
Yes.
I don't have to follow this set prescribed rule of, instructions,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone must be on the same page, and everyone must do this and that, and right, like, and there's a
Yes.
time limit, and it's so structured into, like, life is way
Yes.
too dynamic for
It
that,
is, man.
way
It
too
is.
dynamic for
Oh,
that.
it
So
is.
we just say, hey man, stop being an observer, right, and just be a participant.
Participant. Yes. No, that is everything, man. That is so beautiful because being an observer, right? It's just you don't participate in everything that there is in life. One of the stories people love to follow footsteps,
Yes.
right? Or they like to follow. Let me put it this way: they like to follow a map,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Because we have map to everywhere, like GPS map, take me there, right?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, I'm trying to be, whatever it is, right? And because someone there has what I'm looking for or what I'm trying to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I try to follow their footsteps and everything. And, because sometimes, like, even following that footstep, man, that meant that right there is never gonna work for me, right? Just like both of us, right, we're learning and everything, but the way you apply your own stuff and the way I apply my own stuff in my own personal life is
Yes.
two different. It's just two different ways, two different scenarios,
Yes.
right? And even so, and that's the beauty of this, right? Where the freedom to express yourself, like learn whatever you have to learn in your own way, in
Yes.
your own manner. And that is what all this is all about, right? The artistry of life is not, okay, this is what Sai, this is what Eli said, and, that is the order right there, so follow our path. Is wherever you are right now, around the world, right? Whatever level of growth you are, all you got to do is how does that apply to you personally, right?
Yes.
And then just do, right? Just do,
Yeah.
and then participate in the life that is happening around you, that is happening for you, not against you.
Yeah,
So,
and maps only work because maps do work, right?
mm-hmm.
Personal maps that people have laid out, because there's proof out there that exists. personal maps that people lay out, whether in books or instructions or, physical maps, like they do work, right? Like there's a lot of proof to show that they do work, but they only work when there's a specific map for your specific destination. Like it has to be like, this is exactly where I want to go, exactly at this point, this objective where this person has gone, right? Like where this person's at. And especially when the model exists in front of you, if I want to start a Chick-fil-A franchise, there's a specific set of instructions and map that's laid out for that.
Yes.
I just follow that, right?
Yes.
And then I want one. Okay, there's a map. So, but I think that again, the trap or the misconception lies when you're not, a person may, let's say, like, we hear a lot of people talk about like Bill Gates, because of his money. People want Bill Gates money.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be Bill Gates. They don't know the real Bill Gates. They want Elon Musk's money, right?
Yes.
Or maybe certain aspects of what he's achieved. They want that, but they don't want to be him. And but they can't recognize that they don't want to be him, right? Yet, case in point, you ever see someone from a distance and you admire so much about them, the way they look, the way they talk, just what they've achieved, and you're like, wow, man.
Yeah.
And you've gotten up close and personal to that person. You're like, ew. This person is like immoral, unethical. They do a lot of stuff that just doesn't align with who I am and my values.
Yes.
Right. And that's I'm pretty certain everyone's had that experience.
Yes.
So again, it's very important to understand, like, so now when you see this person, you're like, so then here's another fallacy and illusion, is that, oh, well, I want to achieve what this person achieved and get there, but I'm going to do it a different way. Nah, that's not how that map works. It's not how that map works.
Okay.
You can achieve it and you can get there.
Yes.
But it's going to require you to step outside. It will challenge your values. It will challenge your and you're going to be like, no. And then you'll quickly realize, like, oh, I can't get there. Yeah. Because in order to get there, I'm going to have to become X.
Yes.
And, and either you're going to have to make a decision where you compromise your personal values, or, or you just don't get it. Right. So maps do work, but we just don't understand the specifics behind all the maps. Right. And, or the specifics of the destination. Yes. And then how many times you see people get to a particular destination because they're like, yeah, I always wanted to be there. So they get there and they're like, I don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
And they'll give up the profession. They'll give up, the billet, the title, right? Even people that became wealthy, give it all up to become monks in the hills sipping tea. Yes. Right. So it's like, so the maps that are laid out, but the maps kind of like, a lesson, remind me of a lesson from the Tea Master, like that said, a path doesn't take you where you want to go. A path takes you where the path goes. Right?
Whew.
Yeah.
Let me sip some tea. Man, that is so deep, man. That is so deep, man. Oh man, a path leads you to, like, it leads you, man. You don't lead the path, man. Wow. Man, that is, the stuff with the map, right, is, just to even go further deep down on that, right? Yes. It's not like it doesn't work, like you say, right, for a specific reason, this, that, right? And this is the stuff, right, where people try to use map, right? Yes. It's like they try to use everything that is on it, right? They might be like, take left, I take left, take right, I take right, right? Yes. And sometimes it's just knowing that, okay, in this map right here, I just need to take one direction, right? Or maybe I just need to use one thing from this map, right? Yes. And just using multiple different stuff. Because, remember from previous conversations we've had where you were like, you were born a disciplined baby, right?
Yeah.
And for someone to be like, use my map, so the number 6 step is discipline. And
Yes,
then now
yes.
they have to take you through this 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're like, wait, so you mean to tell me 1 all the way to 5 is to get to discipline?
Yeah.
You just wasted my time right
Yes,
here,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that is a point
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the map right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just wanted to kind of be clear and offer to like our viewers and listeners that um, you and I were moving in a particular direction, but we don't have the same destination point.
No.
So that's why you could only use certain things that's on the map.
Yes.
Right? That's why we do not have the same destination point.
No.
We cannot.
No.
Because I don't know at what point, my time is going to expire. Neither do you.
Yes.
Right? We don't know, like, all right, we get to this level and then you might like, okay, I'm good here. Right.
Yes.
And me, I'm like, I want to keep going. Right.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
It doesn't change the nature of our relationship.
No.
It just changed like our destination points. Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, so so I'm validating your point in saying that, yeah, you cannot use you can take some things off the map. Like, okay, yep, you went here, took a left here. Yeah, let me take those left.
Yes.
Okay, but what's plugged into the GPS? You don't know what's plugged into my GPS.
Yes.
I don't know what's plugged into your GPS, right? And even though you might plug something in right now, you're like, well, that's my destination point. And I might say, okay, well, that's my destination point too. It might be temporary because knowing me, like my brain triggers competition like, no, pursuit of more.
Yes.
Go, right?
Yes.
Like, and then, we might get there and you're like, oh, okay, all right, we stopping. Like, nah, I'm keeping going.
Yes.
I literally just did that in the gym today. Like I got on the treadmill next to a guy and it started off as a friendly walk and we both were on incline, not holding on. And I just kind of glanced over and he was like 5 minutes ahead of me. I said, okay, well, initially I was just going to do a specific amount of time to get up, but I saw he was 5 minutes ahead of me. And my brain triggered into that mode. Like, well, one of us is going to get off this thing first. And when he gets off, I'm going to just do 1 extra minute.
Yes.
And then I'm going to get off, right?
Yeah,
so, and as soon as he got off, I'm like, I'm glad he got off because like I was so determined at this point, like I'm not going to get off this thing until he gets off, right? Like, and I'm going to make up this 5 minutes plus extra.
Yes.
But self-reflection and self-analysis of who Saya is, I know that about myself.
Yes.
I'm 100% aware that about myself. Like I will move the goalpost, right? I won't move it lesser. I will extend it.
Yes.
I will extend it. Yes. I know that about myself. So I will never ascribe to my kids, to like, hey, just do exactly what I do and just get here. Like, don't do that because you're not built like me.
Yes.
And there's things in me that will trigger certain things and that will make me in pursuit more.
Yes.
So no, I'm validating your point that absolutely you got to be very careful of maps. Yes. Unless you plan, but then there are people out there that really think that they can, we see them, that they really think they can be the people who they're following. They really, instead of being themselves, like,
yes, try to be that. Okay, yeah, that right there is try to be who they're following and everything, walk and talk in the same manner. Is like, but for how long, because everyone, like we said multiple times on the podcast, everyone, man, there are like 7 to 8 billion people on this planet, man, on this earth, and our fingerprint is different. Like twins, identical twins, their fingerprints is different, man. Yes. So it's like you just can't copy someone and be someone else, right? Yes. A lot of people just try to live in someone else and then you live in that person's shadow. Yes. Especially with, our line of job and everything where everyone just try to be someone or something different that, okay, yeah, use this map right here, it advances you to the next level. Like, listen, man, I'm bigger than that next level that you're trying to advance me to. But yeah, you just gotta be really careful with that map. But this is really beautiful, man. Make sure to subscribe and like our podcast, all right?